the biggest development in national news. In the Nolan Wells investigation, it may not be another witness. It may not be another interview. It may not even be another autopsy. Instead, hold on to your horses, Kimosabis. It could be a single audio recording. Today, while speaking at the National Urban League Conference, attorney Ben Crump, we know Big Uncle Crump, announced that Nolan Wells' family has retained a forensic audio expert to examine the emergency CTO call that was made on the boat on July the 4th. And I think it's an important step, but I also have one hope. If we're truly searching for the truth, and that's what our goal is, I hope those experts don't ignore the work that's already been done by independent audio analysts online by the name of Janetta Bradley. Look her up on Facebook. We're going to simplify this story like she simplified that audio. So stay tuned for my simplified section. And as always, please remember to like, follow, and share and comment. Welcome to Money and Politics Simplified. I'm Esco Louderman. Today, we're discussing one of the biggest announcements yet in the Nolan Wells investigation. Ben Crump, yes, attorney Ben Crump says the family has retained forensic audio experts to analyze the emergency distress call released by Mississippi authorities. That could become one of the most important pieces of the evidence in this entire case. As exciting as that announcement is, everyone, this is very important. There is one thing I hope that happens, and that's justice for Mr. Nolan Xavier Wells. The recording was made around 4 p.m. on July the 4th. A call was placed to CTO after a boat began taking on water near Horn Island. That's a towing company. Since its release, people across the country have listened to the recording repeatedly, endlessly, ad nausea. Some believe they hear Nolan's name. Others believe they hear different words. Still, others hear nothing significant at all. Those are the naysayers. The recording has become one of the most debated pieces of evidence in this investigation thus far that wasn't even found by investigators. Ben Crump's announcement, speaking Thursday at the National Urban League Conference, he announced that the Wells family has hired a forensic audio expert to examine the recording. According to Crump, those experts will attempt to determine whether additional information can be extracted from the original CTO conversation. That's exactly what experienced forensics analysts are trained to do. Professional enhancements use original recordings, which is important, right? Specialized equipment and methods designed to preserve the integrity of the evidence. That happens over the past several days. Independent audio enthusiasts and engineers have already spent countless hours trying to clean up the analyzed recording. Some have isolated voices. Some have identified possible background sounds. Others have offered entirely different interpretations. Whether those conclusions ultimately prove correct or incorrect, they've investigated significant time trying to understand this recording. I hope the experts retained by the Wells family at least review that work of these independent artists. Not because online conclusions should replace forensic science, but because sometimes independent researchers notice things worth testing using professional methods. I think the best evidence should win. I think the best evidence should carry the most weight than the internet speculation. In this case, I believe it has. But science works best when investigators consider all available information before reaching conclusions. If someone online believes they've identified an important sound, I would say, why not test it? If it turns out they're wrong, then guess what? They're wrong, what we call a lead. If it turns out they notice something meaningful, then everyone benefits. The goal shouldn't be proving social media right. The goal should be discovering the truth about the death of Nolan Wells. Experts have also urged caution on independent forensic audio experts and have already cautioned the public against jumping to conclusions from the recordings that have been circulating online. They note that compressed files, repeated processing, and confirmation bias can cause listeners to hear things that they normally wouldn't hear that are different from what's actually there. They emphasize that meaningful analysis should be conducted using the original recordings and accepted forensics methods. From what I've seen, that's what has happened. That's exactly why professionals should review this information And that is why it is so important. The truth is what matters, whether the audio ultimately reveals something significant or nothing at all. The answer needs to come from the evidence, not from rumors, not from assumptions, and not from what any of us hope to hear. The recording should speak for itself after it has been carefully examined by qualified professionals. Now, I'm not saying Ms. Bradley is not a qualified professional. Her resume is nice. This could be an important step, and I believe it is. The hiring of a forensic audio expert doesn't prove anyone's skill. It doesn't clear anyone either. It simply means another piece of key evidence is being examined more closely. In an investigation with so many unanswered questions, why would you not want this part of it? That's a positive development in solving a case. Every legitimate avenue deserves to be explored in this. And as always, let's simplify this. Ben Crump's announcement that the Wells family has retained forensic audio experts could become an important part of this investigation. I am looking to see where it goes. Professional analysis may clarify whether the emergency call contains additional information, or it may confirm that the recording cannot reliably reveal more than was already understood. Either outcome has value because both move the investigation closer to the evidence. And evidence-based answers are always the best answers. And here's my hope. If independent researchers have already identified portions of the recording they believe deserve attention, I truly hope that the forensics experts consider those observations as leads to tests, not as conclusions to accept. The final conclusions should come from careful examination of the original evidence using acceptable forensics methods. We need to be sure what we hear is actually what is being said. Here's where I stand. I support Ben Crump's decision to bring in qualified forensics audio experts. That's a no-brainer, everyone. Independent review can increase confidence in the findings when it is done properly. I also believe good investigators will follow up on this. The question is, do we have good investigators? And they should be willing to look at the credible work that's already been done for them, to be honest. That doesn't mean accepting every claim made online. It means considering potentially useful observations and testing them against the original evidence. At the end of the day, none of us, and I mean me included, should want the audio to prove one theory over another. We should want it to tell us the truth on what happened to Nolan Wells, because right now, the ones that need to be questioned are trying to become the victims. Go figure that. What do you think? Should forensics experts review the work already performed by independent audio analysts like Janetta Bradley? Or should they begin completely from scratch using only the original recordings? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Esco Latimer. Please remember to like, follow, share, and comment. This is Money in Politics Simplified. Stay informed, stay engaged, because when you understand the facts, well, my friends, you understand the audio file a lot better, and then you understand the politics. Have a good day.
Esco Latimer. Talking money, talking power. Follow the paper and you find a throne. Deals in the back while the cameras roll. Who's funding fear? Who's buying hope? Who's pulling strings every time we vote?